right, so let's get into a little bit of the history. We went to school together, and then I went to school with your wife as well.
Yes.
I actually knew her a little bit more than I knew you, but we like traditionally, because we're getting old now, right? You just stay Facebook friends with people forever.
Right.
Don't talk forever and all that kind of stuff. But then I started seeing on Facebook popping up like this new YouTube video. And I remember the first time I watched like one of your YouTube videos like a couple years ago, you only had like, I think it was a couple hundred subscribers.
Yeah.
And how many do you have present day? Do you have kind of a ballpark?
We're somewhere over 118,000 subscribers.
That's amazing, man. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Your history and how you guys kind of came up and gotten to where you are. Your upcoming guest sounds so cool. And then, like I said, I saw your channel, a few hundred subscribers, and I watched the video and I was like, oh, this is a nice thing. And then I felt like the next time I watched it, it was like over 1,000, and then it was like 10,000, 50,000. I was like, wait, what's going on here?
So about that, which is the biggest advice, a lot of people ask me, who want to be on YouTube. I know you started your own YouTube channel, which is growing pretty fast. Are you over 1,000 yet? I think you
just crossed 1,000, which is crazy.
That's a huge milestone, right? So the biggest thing for any YouTuber, especially young kids, because they're worried about the numbers, right? They're worried about, when am I going to get 100? When am I going to get 1,000? When am I going to get 10,000? So of course, that's not something we were looking for in the beginning, right? And then all of a sudden it kind of came out of nowhere. But it takes the average YouTuber, unless something crazy happens, about 3 years to start getting the algorithms working in your favor, which don't ask me about algorithms because they change all the time, especially for YouTube. And, you look at YouTubers that started 5, 6, 10 years ago, that's when it first started, and that's why they're so successful. Now you kind of got to be different. You got to be doing things a little bit more often and kind of get your little niche. So when we did it, we didn't really do it for the followers or the fame or anything like that. I just wanted to inspire people. And regardless of how many views and how many subscribers we get, my biggest thing was if at least I, inspired one person, that's all that mattered. That's all that mattered. I didn't care about anything else. But it started growing out of nowhere. And then one day it kind of blew up. One of the videos from the Black Jaguar White Tiger Foundation went viral for us. And I didn't know. One day I kind of woke up and my phone was literally dead because it was blowing up with people trying to license the video and all this stuff. And then with the help of celebrity guests, they have bigger platforms. And then of course with the vendors, our vendors I'm so grateful for them because first off, that gambit you talked about, that's not it's not a cheap piece.
Thing is not cheap.
It's about $800. Yeah. So with these sponsors or partners, not sponsors, partners, they send us stuff and that kind of gets our show, rotating. It's the wheels of our show. They send us stuff to open up in line with pop culture, the latest and greatest. They're supporting, autism, which is awesome. And if it wasn't for them, it would be a little hard for us because I can't afford that stuff. You know what I mean? It's a lot, although I love it. Right. And a lot of those things too, sometimes we keep them if we like them. The Gambit I purchased. But some of the other things that they send us, we donate, we raffle off, we do giveaways, things like that. It all depends on, what the scenario is or what's upcoming, but we're real grateful with them. But the whole celebrity thing was kind of what kind of got us kicked off to doing better things for the channel. And it's important to have celebrities on because for one, it's cool, right? You're interviewing people, right? That you look up to or admire. But the biggest reason is they have a huge platform, right? And a lot of these kids need inspiration. And, there's all kinds of people in the world that do great things, but it takes very small thing to inspire somebody. And that's just talk to them. You don't have to buy them stuff. You don't have to talk to them, inspiring, encouraging words. And when we have celebrities come onto the show and they're looking straight in the camera and tell somebody, hey, I love you and I believe in you. And it's somebody they look up to. And they sense that communication and that vibe with them, and it inspires them to start talking or singing or try to just do something that they always wanted to do. That's really what it's all about. So it's important for us to keep trying to get these celebrities on, and we're thankful for every single one that's been on. So
that's amazing. It's so interesting to hear you talk about that, and I'm really glad you touched on the things like growth and algorithms and all that. When I started this, that was the same thing. I think in my first video, I said, I'm not looking to become famous. I'm not, you know, I just want to give people a platform to talk. What started this whole process of me thinking about even doing this is I had a friend who just seemed really stressed out. We met for a socially distanced outdoor lunch a few months ago, and she seemed really just kind of stressed out. And I said, hey, what's going on? And she kind of talked about one thing and then another thing and another thing, and it kind of snowballed. And it was like 5 hours later, we were still talking. And afterwards, she said, thank you so much just for listening and just hearing me. And we didn't just talk about serious stuff. Some stuff was funny and goofy, and some stuff was serious or sad or whatever. And I realized it's like people just need outlets. And that's why YouTube is so big, because there's different channels for everything. Whether you have autism or you don't have autism, whether you focus in music or movies or, you know, pop culture, whatever it is. So for me, that's all I wanted. I was like, if even one person reaches out to me and talks to me and converses with me and vents about something, and I've actually had so many people reach out, people that are both my friends or family, and then strangers that I've never met before have reached out and said, okay, I just watched your video about how you lost your pet. Our dog passed away a couple months ago. And that was like my second video. I just watched your video. I just lost my dog, and I haven't really processed it yet, but like I watched yours and like I cried for the first time. And like, it made me so emotional to hear that like a video that I make like in my basement can have that kind of impact on somebody. And I'm sure you guys have had that with your platform and how many people you've reached and celebrities, like you've impacted people. So have you ever had people comment or reach out to you guys or whatever and just say, oh my gosh, you've made an impact on me?
Yeah, so that's probably the most rewarding thing, right? Especially when it's a stranger. For me, so I'm obviously the one behind all the social media. Liana doesn't really go on there. I monitor it as the parent. But we have people from all over the world: Argentina, New Zealand, India, Africa. I mean, you name it. People contacting us. Sometimes I got to use Google Translate to kind of try to see what they're saying and try to communicate with them, and they appreciate it. The best story, and I'll never forget this. One day we were at a local free comic book day, and the mall had like a small little convention with table events and stuff, and we announced that we were going. This was probably like maybe the second year that we were on YouTube. So we announced it. We went there. We had our table. We had a bunch of stuff and giveaways and all that stuff. And me and Ileana's mom, Vanessa, we took a break from the table. Ileana manned the table, right? Because we wanted to walk around. It was a long day. And we started walking around, kind of looking at the vendors, but I didn't stop because I knew I was going to buy stuff. So we just took a walk. Yeah. And then all of a sudden I'm looking to the left, and all of a sudden I feel something just grab onto my legs. And when I tell you grab on, like they were just like latched onto my legs. So I looked down and I'm like, what the heck? And it's this little girl just grab it onto my legs for dear life. And I'm like, and I start panicking. I'm like, what is happening? So she looks up like, I've been looking for you all over. And I'm like, okay. And then she shows me her bracelet. She's like, look, I have autism too. So I'm like, oh my goodness. And I'm like trying to process it. I look up and I see a parent finally walking towards me. And I'm like, oh my God. And she's like, we drove 3 hours and we couldn't find you. We thought that you weren't here and we finally found you. She's so excited. I'm like, what? You drove 3 hours? She's like, yeah, we watch a YouTube channel. She loves Ileana. I'm like, are you serious? And she's like, yeah. She's like, oh my God. So I brought him to the table. I let the little girl sit in the back. Her name was Penny. I'll never forget it. She sat in the back of the table with Ileana, so she thought that was the coolest thing in the world. I swear I gave her everything on my table. I was like, here, just take it all. The cutest little kid, but for someone to drive 3 hours just to come see us, and, you know, yeah, we have a lot of views and stuff, but I don't consider myself famous or anything like that. Like, I really don't. But the fact that we're impacting people like that, you know, the schools reach out to us. We were there for Career Day, motivational speakers, and a lot of these kids reach out to us on TikTok and social media. Hey, you went to my school. Thank you so much. I'm going to start my own YouTube channel. I had a kid, you know, not too long ago, we did a virtual career day, and it was more important than a actual physical one where we were there at the school, which we've done before too, because like you said, the kids are home. They're like, oh my God, I'm just doing things repetitively online. And for them to start talking with people in a whole Zoom chat with like a whole classroom. And, you know, we were here in the basement, so we were showing them all this stuff, and the kids were like, oh my God. And this one kid's like, hey, you know, I want to do my own YouTube channel, but I want to go to school for paleontology. I was like, So how about you do your YouTube channel about dinosaurs? And he was like, oh my God. He started flipping out. And I'm like, yeah, man, because if these kids start now, by the time they get to that age and go to school for paleontology and all that, our YouTube channel is going to be big, huge, right? Yeah. So I helped him put everything together, and he started his own YouTube channel. So hopefully one day, you know, we got another Bill Nye the Science Guy, right? So
that's awesome.
But yeah, man, it's very, very rewarding, man. And what you're doing on your show, I absolutely love, and that's why I wanted to be on the show today, because I think it's very important to reach out to people, or just not even reach out, let people listen to you and feel that they're not alone, right? Yeah. And especially now with this pandemic, people are not allowed to go anywhere. And then you got to think of, all right, my situation is different. We're in the United States, right? A little bit more freedom, a little bit more things. There's people, third world countries, that they might have internet, and they, you know, or they might not have as much as we do. And all of a sudden they see and they're like, man, they think of you like the world, right? Yeah. So that's the other thing too. You got to think of who's watching and from where, because they're not going to be in the same situation, and they might think highly of you because, you know, you're that shining light that they don't have where they're at. So I think it's cool what you're doing, man.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And like I said, I'm so grateful that you came on and did this. And I, you know, after your kind of channel started working, and, you know, I was watching yours one day, I remember I was like sitting in my living room and I was watching one of your episodes, and I was just like, you know what? I have something to say too, and like I can do this too. And like I had all the equipment, because like I have filmmaking equipment and cameras and lighting stuff and all that. But yeah, like I said, honestly, like you continue to inspire for sure, like strangers, people that you went to high school with like 18 years ago. You know, so just, yeah, I mean, keep doing what you're doing. Your channel is awesome, and I think it's such an inspiration. And obviously it's connected with regular everyday people, kids, adults, celebrities. Like what you're doing is really, really cool. So much appreciated. Yeah. All right, so I want to do some fun things. Let's have some fun with this. So I have some rapid fire questions for you.